Hello, everyone. Today we are finally kicking it off, episode 1 of the Depthsposting podcast. I am beyond excited to show this to you guys. Beyond excited to kick it off. I just want to go ahead and get it right off the bat. I do apologize for this first episode. I don't really sound 100%. I am actually getting over a cold as of currently, and I am actually, during our conversation, I was actually also getting over another cold as well. So if I don't sound 100%, I do truly apologize. I also want to go ahead and apologize for you guys are going to hear two different calls. One's just a little bit shorter, and you'll definitely be able to tell when it comes in. I had a problem with the recording, so thankfully, our guests today, Mike and Kyla, were, very patient with me. So I do thank them for that. So let's go ahead and kick it right off. Just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. The first ever episode of Depthsposting Podcast, my conversation with Mike and Kyla Hosoda.
I want to know your plans and how involved in them I am. When I go to sleep for good, will I be forgiven? And if you want roses, you can go buy a bouquet.
There you go.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, not much. What about you?
Not much. Just getting out of class, just hanging out.
Fun.
Yep. Just getting
How
over.
was class?
Class was alright. I'm getting over a cold while now sitting in the cold, but it's alright. That's what it is.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. But anyway, this is like the first episode, so what we're doing, what the premise of, what we're doing here is just, there's a lot of things that we can take away from each other in the group, and I always have felt that way. And it hit me earlier when I was doing the listing for the different talents that, even if, there wasn't a name on the list that, we weren't familiar with or I wasn't familiar with, like, I still think that there's a lot of people in that group. There's a lot of things that people can take away in that group. And so when I actually had the idea for doing this, you guys were the first two people I came up with, because you both have very interesting stories. So to dive right into it, I kind of want to, talk about that a little bit. If you guys just want to talk a little bit about where, you guys had met, how you guys came up,
You like to tell it so well, babe. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I always tell it.
I know, but you tell it best.
So the story of how we met, Kyla and I went to middle school. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Okay. So Kyla and I went to the same middle school together back in Florida 15 years ago. Yeah. We're old. Anyway, so
definitely been some time.
we
Yeah.
we rode the same bus together. I was in 8th grade and she was in 6th grade. And we never really talked to each other. We said hi to each other every day, whatever, but we didn't really have much interaction after that. So one day I decided, you know what? She's cute. I like her. I'm going to ask her out. So I wrote her this stupid little note that you write in middle school, because I was cheesy like that. It was like one of those, I like you, do you like me, check yes, check no, blah, blah, blah. And she'll tell you, I also wrote a really shitty picture, or drew a really shitty picture of her.
Yeah, so here's the other thing that he always fails to mention and leaves out of the story. So we were technically on the quote-unquote short bus, but really it was just a nice bus with AC. So anyway, there was like a bus assistant, attendant, whatever you want to call it. He went so far as to track her down one day and ask her to ask me what my favorite kind of Valentine's Day candy was.
Damn, Mike, you're
And
relentless, man.
I know. So then she, like, the funny thing is, she, like, smoothly and flawlessly, like, brought it up one day, and I thought she was just asking, and I'm like, oh, I don't like candy, I like chocolate. So what I know, Valentine's Day rolls around, I get an entire bag of chocolate that I only ate, like, 2 pieces of.
Yeah, so I give her this note on Valentine's Day because, again, middle school, cheesy. My whole life is cheesy.
But I think middle school is the acceptable time to be cliche and cheesy, though.
Fair enough.
I think I would say that's around the time that you're learning not to be cliche. You gotta experiment around. Because I know when I was in middle school, I was definitely like that. I was definitely cliche and cheesy. And I think, a lot of people who are listening, a lot of people, I think it's just like a general thing. I think that's when you, like, learn to, what is cliche, what is cheesy, all that fun stuff.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, so I give her that note, and she checked yes. And so our one and only date that year was to go see Finding Nemo in theaters. And it was so awkward. Like, when we would go to get popcorn, if our hands touched, we'd pull back real quick. And it was a whole thing.
But it's not true. We technically had one other date at your youth group. To see ants.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
that was a good movie.
So there was another day.
It was a good movie.
It was alright.
I liked it.
Bug's Life was better.
I mean, I agree. Bug's Life was better.
So yeah, that's how we, did I miss anything?
No. And then, so after we met, we went on that one date. We went to youth group once, and then, like, that was really it. We didn't, like, hug. We didn't kiss. We didn't even, like, touch each other, and yet somehow we were still boyfriend and girlfriend. And we would talk to each other every day, like, during school when we run into each other, because obviously we didn't have any classes together or anything. But, so summer came around, and he was going to high school. I was moving a town away and going to go to a different school, so I went to his 8th grade graduation party. And funny thing is, that's when I first met my now in-laws. And the funniest story that Mike and I still talk about to this day is that he has 2 younger brothers. And they were, how old were they at the time?
Oh, this was 15 years ago, so Chris was like 3.
Yeah.
And Jason was 6 or so.
Okay. So Mike and I, we were playing Nintendo 64, I think, when I got there.
Classic.
And, yeah, of course.
Classic.
So we were playing, and his mom told, it was Chris, right?
I want to say it was Chris.
Okay,
yeah.
So his mom told Chris, which is the youngest, to bring out this plate of hamburgers to their dad to go grill them up on the grill. Well, the next thing we know, we're deep into Mario or whatever the hell we're playing. The next thing we know, we hear this loud thud. Chris,
man.
God bless the boy, ran into the sliding glass door because it was so clean. And we laughed for a good 10 minutes. So that was the first memory I ever had of my now in-laws. So it was funny. I actually brought it up to them the first time Mike and I hung out when we first decided to get back together back in 2014. And like, do you guys remember Mike's graduation party? And they're like, oh, that's where we know you from. What the hell? I'm like, yeah. So anyway, after that party, we quote unquote broke up unofficially, but never actually broke up. We just kind of stopped talking. And then years passed, we didn't really talk, and then I was in 9th grade, and this was back when MySpace was, like, super big, and, you know, the thing.
Yeah,
R.I.P. MySpace. So...
You keep showing our age.
Shut up. They get it, we're old. Anyway, so, I actually went to youth group, that same youth group that Mike and I went to, with my friend, and this guy that she wanted to hook me up with. Well, they were both a part of the youth group band, so they were warming up, so I was just kind of like chilling around until the service started. And I was like looking down at my phone, and the next thing I know, I look up and I see Mike just like strolling in. I'm like, what the hell? Because I had completely forgot that he went there, and I didn't think he still did, and I hadn't heard from him in a long time. So we spent like a good, I want to say like hour and a half just like walking around the church catching up, and we exchanged MySpace information, and we would talk, I would say on a fairly consistent basis, not like every day, but pretty often. And then because we lived like in similar areas, we'd run into each other from time to time. Like we ran into each other at Halloween Horror Nights a couple years. We ran into each other at the mall a couple times. But we always were talking online, and there would still be like, you know, a couple months here, maybe a year there, whatever, that we didn't talk. But when we did talk, we like picked right back up. And then we always still had like a thing for each other, but one of us would always be in a relationship. So we're like, all right, cool. So the next thing we know, we kind of both friend zoned each other like hard. Okay, I'm just kidding. I friend zoned him hard.
Oh, no.
For about 11 years, for about 10 to 11 years. And then in 2013, like the end of the year, I was in a really bad relationship, and Mike and I were talking a lot, like the most that we had talked like consistently, like from morning to night in a really long time. And I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend at the time. I went over to Mike's house like that night, and the rest is basically history. We started, like, we made it official like about 2 weeks later, and here we are now, married, moved across the country, and yeah, kind of our story.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, guys. It's definitely one of the cutest stories I've ever heard, for one. I also have to give it to Mike for waiting for that long. That's actually amazing. I think if you ever look back now, I don't think you hear a lot of stories of, you know, people like that, like actually waiting for so long. I think a lot of people just like to move on, but I mean something like that is definitely rare, and I think that's definitely unique, and it brings it definitely does make it, you know. I think that's what makes it special.
Yeah, for sure. This is like it's the cutest story that I've ever heard, and it's my story. Like, you know, growing up, neither of us really realized like how special of a thing that we had. Like, we just thought we were talking all the time on Facebook, or Facebook, MySpace, whatever, like with a friend, like you normally would. Mm-hmm. But like, it really wasn't until we started like going out that we were like, holy crap, we have stuck by each other's sides for, at that time, it was 11 years. Yeah. 11 years. And we realized that there were times where we were each other's only friends. And it wasn't even necessarily about like the relationship aspect of it, but it was definitely the fact that we were there for each other when like no one else was about 90% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's definitely interesting. So when did you guys tie the knot?
August 12th, 2015.
Oh, so it had only been like a year and a half prior to you guys getting married?
So he proposed.
He said from the beginning, from when we started dating. Oh. Yeah, it was about a year and a half.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half. He proposed. So we started dating January 19th of 2014. He proposed to me December 27th of that year, and then that following year is when we got married. So we were together for about a year and a half afterwards, when we got married.
All right, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And because I'm going to put the song in the beginning, can you give context as to, because I know you want to talk I know you guys wanted to talk to me about it before, and I told you, wait till the podcast. So if you guys want to tell the story about your wedding song, I definitely appreciate it now.
Oh, God. All right. So we were cleaning one day, and we were really, really high. And we were cleaning. I was cleaning the living room. He was in the kitchen. We had Pandora pulled up on our TV. It was Pandora, iHeartRadio or something. And it was Pandora? Yeah. All right, so it was Pandora. So anyway, we were cleaning. We were doing our own thing. And the next thing we know, this song comes on. And we just, stopped, we let it play for a little bit. And we stopped what we were doing, looked at each other, and just cried the entire song. Like, this is beautiful. How have we never heard this before? It fits us so well. So it was just like one of those things. It was like a weird timing thing, but it was also kind of perfect because we were back in about 2014. It was still like a really rough time for both of us. So we heard that song, and like I think we more so just like got emotional over the overall meaning of it. And one of our favorite lyrics from that is "You're what keeps me believing that the world's not gone dead," and that just like, I don't know, it made us emotional. It still kind of makes me at least emotional when I hear it. But
Yeah. Like, I just got a lump thinking about it.
yeah, so did I.
Oh man. No, the thing is, like, I had always heard of Say Everything, and I always heard of the album Is a Real Boy, but I never really dove
Yeah,
into
that's
it.
what the song is from.
Yeah, no, when you guys had told me that was your wedding song, I actually ended up looking it up because I was actually curious. You know, I was just like wondering, like, I wonder like what made this song like the wedding song, because it has to be a pretty special song. And so I looked it up. I listened to it on Spotify, and I was like, damn, that is actually pretty beautiful. That is.
I know.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's super perfect, and I was honestly kind of happy because it was our wedding song. It's now our song, whatever. But I was honestly kind of happy it wasn't a super conventional song. I mean, like, it felt kind of weird to like tell the wedding person or whatever like what our song was, because usually for weddings you have like the most top 10 cliche songs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anyone chooses,
Absolutely.
and then you have ours, and I'm just like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right. Aren't they? I think I read somewhere that they're doing a 10-year tour for that. Are you guys know about that at all?
Did they do it already, or are they doing it?
I think it's going now.
Oh.
But it's not coming here.
Oh yeah,
it's
okay. Probably not. Vegas is like super hit or miss when it comes to a lot of shows. Like, we either get really good ones or we get none at all.
Oh damn.
Or shows with like only one band that we'd want to go see, so it's just not worth it.
Or they're out in Henderson, which is like a 30-minute drive from here.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And what made the decision from go to Florida to Las Vegas?
So my dad, he moved out here in 2011. He moved his business. He runs his own health and wellness business. So he moved it out here in 2011. And then in 2014, my mom, my stepdad, and my little brother moved out here because my stepdad got a better job offer. So we came here to Vegas for Christmas in 2014, and that's when Mike proposed. And we decided that we really didn't have much in Florida. I mean, he had his family, but it honestly wasn't until we moved here that he got really close to them. So, like, we just wanted a new, fresh start, and my family was already here. So we're just like, you know, once our lease is up, fuck it, let's move to Vegas. And that's kind of all she wrote.
Yeah.
It's been a really great thing, but now we're also kind of homesick because we miss Florida. I mean, Vegas is cool. It's nice to have my family, but we now kind of miss it.
No, I definitely do. I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I actually moved to New York about 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
I actually moved here from North Carolina. I actually grew up here in New York, actually same place, same area. And I grew up, I moved away, and I recently just moved back just because of, incidences that have happened in North Carolina, just pertaining to family and stuff. So I can definitely see what you mean. There are definitely times where I do miss North Carolina very much. But I mean, even living here, like, it has its pros and cons. Like, over here, I like our music scene here a little bit more back in North Carolina than back in North Carolina. Yeah. And, I think even though I left and even though I was gone in a more primitive time, that I had a more full understanding of things. Even just coming back here, it still feels like home. But I feel like even if I had gone back, even if I do plan on going back, which I do plan on going back to visit at some point, I still think both places are pretty much homes. I definitely do consider both to be homes. But
yeah, I think for us the weird thing is like we really only have my family here. I mean, Mike has a couple of friends here, one like really close friend. I have like no one. I have like my sister-in-law and like two other people that I don't really talk to that much. But for me, I feel like Florida is always kind of home. I'm not even from, like, originally from Florida. I actually moved from Seattle, Washington to Florida when I was 6, and not even Seattle feels like home as much as Florida does. So it's like I have my family here, and, you know, people come visit here, but in Florida, I have friends that I grew up with. I have, you know, more roots there. There's more culture there. I mean, Vegas is literally just a strip and a crap ton of houses and, you know, strip malls. Like, that's it. There's nothing here. It's actually a very small city. You can drive from, like, either side of it in a half hour.
Oh, okay.
Like, I didn't think it was this tiny.
Yeah.
So, I think for me, and probably also for Mike, I feel like Florida will definitely always be home.
For sure.
But, you know, Mike was born and raised there. I lived there for the majority of my life. So it could just be a matter of spending more time here, growing more roots. I mean, it's hard to meet people when you're an adult and you don't work and the only thing you really do is go to church every Sunday. So, whereas in Florida, whereas in Florida, you're growing up, you're going to school, and that's how you meet people. So it's definitely a lot more difficult, but...
Not only that, Vegas isn't a very personal town. Like,
no, not at all.
No one makes the effort to make those connections. Everyone just kind of does their own thing here. Like, it's really hard to get that connection with people here for some reason.
See, like, one and only perk that we really like is the cost of living, because it's a hell of a lot cheaper than Florida. So
is it really?
That's nice.
Oh yeah.
I had always imagined that living near somewhere so popular is more expensive.
Yeah, no, you would think. So here, if you're renting a house, let's say $1,200, it could get you a nice 3-bedroom house.
Wow.
3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. Yeah, which is insane. I mean, in Florida, $1,200 could get you like a 2-bedroom apartment.
That kind of reminds. I mean, I don't know. I mean, living up here, I think it's pretty common knowledge that New York is expensive. So like,
oh, yeah,
that money will get you like a room up here.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I think I definitely do relate to to when you guys say, you know, no one really makes that, you know, connection. Because up here it's definitely everyone just tries to do their own thing. Even for me, like you guys had said, it's hard to make friends when you're an adult. As in for me, like it's hard for me to make friends in college. When I came back, I lost connection with everyone I knew, and so I tried to rekindle some of those friendships that I had. But it's still, you know, pretty difficult for me. Everyone's still doing their own thing. I'm, you know, pretty busy with school and trying to work and all this fun stuff. You know, adulting is fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
totally.
But no, it's definitely. I definitely understand what you guys mean. I definitely know like what it's like, and it's definitely you know, hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it has its perks. I mean, we knock on Vegas a lot, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know, like, what kind of people we would be had we stayed in Florida. I mean, we had a lot of crap going on there, and we mostly just left because it was really, like, dark. It turned into, like, a really dark place for us. So I feel like here in Vegas, we've had the opportunity to become more positive people and actually, like, grow and, you know, get ourselves out of the rut that we were in Florida. So, you know, we're very thankful for Vegas for that. I mean, it was really just about a change of scenery. I mean, not much changed, like, in our lives. I mean, I was still, you know, near my parents and, you know, whatever, but I think it was a matter of just needing to get out of, like, such a really dark place for us. And so, like, I feel like if we visited Florida or even eventually moved back, then it would be completely different because we just needed that time to, like, heal and to become better people. And I don't think that would have happened if we stayed in Florida.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
So, going further into you know the topic of Las Vegas, what is the music scene like that over there? Because I know you guys said that you either don't get shows or you guys get really good shows. So like, what is it like over there? Is it pretty? Is it still pretty popping over there? Is it still, you know?
I would say it's fairly. I don't know. You would know more.
I mean, the local scene is pretty good here. there's some good bands, like local bands out here. I'm friends with a couple people from local bands, and they're really really good. Like there's one band, Words from Aztec. They're stupid heavy. So I mean, yeah, the local scene is nice, but aside from like established bands in our scene, it's hit or miss. Like we've gotten Warped Tour the last couple of years, and we've gotten a few good shows. Like we got the I Prevail show, and
Which I want
we
to talk
got
about in a minute. So.
And like we got the A Day to Remember and Wage War show.
We've gotten quite a few. We've been to, honestly.
And we got both Under Oath shows, which is nice.
Yeah, but the more I think about it, I mean, we weren't in Florida like that long, but we've been to more shows here than we were in Florida. In Florida, we really only went to 2 shows.
Yeah.
We went to La Dispute and we went to Warped Tour. That was it.
I think Florida gets a lot of more big name, like, stadium bands.
I wouldn't say that. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because it's more well known, maybe.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, we do definitely get like a good combination of bands. I mean, just this year alone, we've gone to see, 4 or 5 shows?
Yeah.
Including Warped Tour. Yeah, so I mean, we're averaging about 4 to 5 a year plus Warped Tour, so it's a pretty good mix, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I definitely would love to go to more shows. I've definitely been trying since I moved up here, just because it is easier for me to go to shows here than it was for me to go in North Carolina.
Yeah,
I just haven't really been in a while. The last show I went to was Straight from the Path. It was back in September. They were doing their record release show, and they brought up with them it was End, which is the lead singer from Counterpart's new band. Which I'm assuming that you've heard of them with that O. But yeah, that was definitely a good one. But yeah, I definitely want to capitalize on the show you guys recently went to. If I can remember correctly, it was I Prevail, We Came as Romans, The Word Alive, and Escape the Fate. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that was pretty monumental for you both. Kayla, I know that was the first show that you have shot with a camera. And I definitely want to talk about that for a second. So if you can capitalize that a little bit. Just talk to us about, where you got your interest in photography and what it was like to talk about that show. Shoot that show.
I actually went to college for photography. I graduated in 2013. And the funny thing is, when I was in school, I had absolutely no interest in band photography. I actually only knew one girl in the program that was doing it, and she really wasn't the best. And so I just kind of assumed it was really hard, and I just never thought to pursue it. So I always did more of the more common things, family photo shoots, portraits, all of that stuff, the usual moneymaker stuff for photographers. And once I graduated school in 2013, I had one job that was still kind of specific to my degree. I just worked at the portrait studio at JCPenney. I was eventually let go because it was a seasonal job, and then after that, I didn't pick up a camera until, I want to say, at least 2 years. I just had no, I lost all interest in the art. I just, I wanted to take a break, and that break turned into 3 years of a break. So, it really wasn't until this year, in between that time, I did do, some photos for, family members, but that was literally it. So this year, I went to Warped Tour, and, everyone takes photos at concerts. Most of the time they're crap, and if you get a great one, then that's cool, but 9 times out of 10, they're all going to be crap. And at Warped Tour, I grabbed Mike's phone when we were seeing Silent Planet, and I'm like, let's see if I can do this, because he had the iPhone 7 Plus, which is a really good camera, and I'm like, let's see if I can get some good shots. I really wasn't expecting anything from it. I'm like, this is probably going to be crap. So I shot Silent Planet, and then a couple of hours later, I did the same with Being as an Ocean. And I really didn't, like, focus on the pictures that much until I got home, when I was, like, already exhausted. I was going through my phone, and I'm like, holy crap, I don't suck at this. So for the next couple of shows, I just used Mike's phone to take pictures. I have a couple of sets that I did at concerts just from a phone, and even from a phone, they still like look pretty good. And my friend from private school that I went to in Florida, she now lives in Portland. She runs a publication called Eyes Wide Love, and she reached out to me. I want to say probably summertime, I think. After she saw my photos from Warped Tour, and she asked me to submit the photos for a blog post as a part of the website. So I'm like, yeah, sure, great. So I did, and then I became more involved with the publication. And then a couple of months had passed, and I want to say sometime last month in October, I had mentioned that we're going to the I Prevail show. And she had always, like, ever since I became involved with the publication, she pushed me to get a photo pass to go, like, photograph the band, like, actually with my camera. She was really impressed with my cell phone work, so she was really excited to see, like, what my camera would produce. So I think for me at first, like, I thought it was a really cool idea, but I still wasn't sure, like, if this is what I wanted to do with my craft. And I really had to push myself to just, I told myself plenty of times, I'm like, dude, just get over it and do it. You could be great. And if you fail, then so what? Like, then you'll know. So she first started doing photography in band photography. So she already knew, like, how to get photo passes and everything like that. So she helped me out to compose an email and send out to all of, like, the press contacts for the bands. And I still, like, wasn't expecting anything. Like, I sent them out, and I'm like, all right, nothing's probably going to happen. It's too late. I should have done this early, whatever. And then the next thing I know, I wake up to an email from the We Came as Romans press contact, and they're like, great, we'll get you a pass. And I was, like, freaking out, like, all day. You should have, like, I think I, like, alarmed Mike because I was squealing.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Like, I was, like, hyperventilating, so excited. So, at first it looked like I was only going to be photographing We Came as Romans, and then probably about 2 or 3 weeks before the show, I got actually, it was on Halloween. On Halloween, I got an email from I Prevail's press contact saying that they were going to give me a pass as well. So that's kind of my story about how I got the pass. So the show comes around, and I had asked my dad if I could borrow his camera so I could bring 2 cameras, and I was really nervous. Like, I had anxiety all the way up until I was, like, going downstairs into the photo pit. Like, I was freaking out. Like, I didn't know, like, if anything I did was going to turn out really well, because I'm so used to using a cell phone. But I'm just, like, I got there, and I kind of, watched the other photographers. I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. Don't pay attention to what you're doing. Just shoot until your heart's content, and you'll probably get at least, a couple of good photos. And, lo and behold, I looked at my photos that night, and I had narrowed it down to, like, 100 photos that were pretty great. And I narrowed it down even more from there. And just the praise that I've gotten from the photos that I've taken for my very first time doing it professionally.
I definitely did love them, by the way. I like to add that in. I would definitely did love the photos that you took.
Thank you. So I think because of the praise I've gotten, and because, like, I turned in, like, I got so much confidence, like, as I was doing it, I was just like, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly what I need to be doing with my art. So I'm definitely not going to, like, abandon family things if they want their pictures taken, but this is definitely where I'm going to take my art from now on, just because I get really bad anxiety, like, if I'm photographing, like, people, because I have to tell them how to pose, and I'm really bad at that. So fan photography is great. All I got to do is just, like, stand in front of them and hope they do something cool and take a picture of it. So I think because I don't have that anxiety, I'm just free to be creative and not worry about much.
I got you. No, that definitely does sound pretty interesting. It definitely is pretty cool. One quick question though: was there crowd surfing, and did anyone almost hit you?
Yes, there was crowd surfing, and yes, I did. I didn't actually get hit by a crowd surfer. It was just the security, like, tapping me on my back to move. So I got squished a couple of times, but all in all, I would say throughout both fans, I only had that incident happen maybe like 3 or 4 times.
I got you. I always wondered, like, what
Yeah.
it's like. I have another person I'm going to be interviewing soon. She's also doing concert photography as well. I want to ask her, too, because I think she's done some more intimate stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always, like, a fear in some, like, for any photographer.
Oh, yeah.
For any photographer's
It was definitely my fear, for sure. I actually, in some points, I actually had, like, this other photographer that was in the pit with me. He was actually kind of, like, protecting me. I'm really short. I'm 4'11".
Hello?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's going now.
Did it?
Yeah, it should be going now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I obviously got to get something else to start recording with, but we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm just using an app on my phone to just record audio from a call. But I definitely got to like look around and see if there's something else better that either won't stop mid conversation or anything else. But we'll see what happens. Can you guys still hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So basically what we need to go over again is just like Kayla's photography experience from the show. And then, so we'll just start off from there, if you just want to go ahead and get into that. So yeah, what was that like for you? And, I know that was the first show that you ever...
Yeah, you kind of cut out. What'd you say?
Can you hear me
What
now?
was the question, I mean?
Yeah,
we can hear you now, but we didn't hear the question.
Oh, okay. I remember when I asked you the first time, it was more like, let me see, I know that was like your first, photography experience, like for a concert, so do you just want to just go over what that was like?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I am a part of a publication called Eyes Wide Love, and one of my friends from, like 7th grade runs it, and she urged me to try out band photography. So I started out with my phone, and I realized, hey, I don't suck. So I found there was a concert coming, and it would be Trans Romans by Prevail. And so I talked to my friend, and she told me to try to get a press pass for it. And so she told me, like, what I should write as far as an email goes and everything like that. And it was kind of late. It was only about a month before the show. So we really weren't sure if I was going to be granted one. And sure enough, about a week, maybe week and a half after I sent the email to Weekend with Roman's press contact, I got contacted from them saying I was granted a photo pass. And then on Halloween, I got an email from the I Prevail contact, and I also got one for them. So I got in there, got the pass and everything like that, and then I was able to shoot the first 3 songs of both bands that, and I was nervous as hell going into it because I was just so used to using my phone. But it was actually a really great experience, and I would definitely love to do it again. And I definitely let my nerves get the best of me the first time, but now that I realize that I actually like don't suck at it, I'm definitely going to be doing it again for sure.
Yeah, no, I really do hope that you are able to continue with it. I definitely know that the pictures that you put in the group were definitely, phenomenal. So
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And stage dives, how did you deal with that?
Say that again? Sorry, you cut out again.
Yeah, no, like I said, terrible phone reception.
It's okay.
How did you deal with stage divers and everything? Cause I
stage divers, yeah.
Last time we talked about that.
So I was really actually worried about that. But it was honestly fine. I mean, I got a couple of taps on my back from the security just telling me to move because there were people coming. But I didn't really have too many problems. I mean, the most interaction I had with any stage divers were them just like crossing my path to get out of the pit. But the security was really good about keeping the photographers safe. And there were really only, I think between the 2 times that I was up there were probably only, I don't know, 3 or 4 people at that point. All of the rest happened like throughout the rest of the set, which was obviously fine because I was gone. But it really wasn't as bad as I expected it to be.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's always like a thing I always wonder about when like with concert photographers, just like the randomly, because you don't even know when it's coming. Like you don't know when someone's coming up, and you can just only tell when someone's in front of you, because that's when you pay attention to the stage. But yeah, it's always a thing that I always wonder with concert photographers. And
I'm definitely like curious to see at other venues how it would be handled. Because the security at the venue that the show was at is phenomenal. So I really wasn't too worried about like my safety or anything. But I'm curious to see with other venues how it will play out. But I imagine it would probably be about the same.
I can't imagine what it's like for photographers at venues with like no security and like just like dive bars.
God.
Yeah, I can't imagine what those are like. I can't imagine. I actually have a friend back in North Carolina. He does concert photography as well. He's very great at it. And I know that he's definitely done shows. You know, there's no photography. Like there's no not photography. There's no security by any means.
Oh God.
And I'm just like,
that's
terrifying. I don't think I've ever really asked him. Like, I might actually try to get him on the podcast. I think that would definitely be something I want to talk to him about. But yeah, I think that's definitely something. I don't know. I think that's like a whole new challenge. So.
I don't even think I would feel safe like bringing my camera into a situation like that with no security.
I think you have to hang out like really like off to the side and just really use your Zoom or something.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of crowd surfing and stage diving, I want to bring up Mike's, wheelchair crowd surfing career once again. But anyway, so I know that when you were able at that show, specifically at that show, you were able to get up on stage and get side stage and be able to interact with the bands that were playing. So can you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So whenever I go to a show, I'm always in the pit because it's the most fun place to be. And I was in the pit, and a couple guys were like, "You want to go up?" And I knew that Kyla was shooting at the time, so I was like, "Yeah, I want to go up." And so when I did it for Weekend with Romans, when I got up there, they actually remembered me from last year, I believe it was. They came through with, I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember who else was on that tour. For Today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that tour I'd also been to as well.
And then, they had me on stage that night, so they remembered me here, so that was cool. And then I did it again for Hypervale when I knew Kyla was shooting. And I actually ended up on Eric from Hypervale's Instagram story that night. We took a selfie on stage together, and he posted that up, so that was cool.
That was cool. I do remember seeing that. I thought that was awesome. So yeah, that was definitely pretty cool to see. And I remember that you told me before that there was only 2 times that you weren't able to be able to crowd surf or you weren't able to get up on side stage. But do you remember the rest of the bands that you've been able to do that for?
Starting from the beginning, I did it for Born of Osiris World Tour in 2014. That was terrifying, being the first time. I swore they were going to drop me, but lo and behold, nobody dropped me that time. I've been dropped numerous times, but that particular time, my first time, they didn't drop me. After that, I've done it for the fall 3 times, I believe, and they've remembered me every time I've done it for them. Who else have I done it for?
You did it for Under Oath?
Oh yeah, I did it for Under Oath twice. Ended up on their Instagram as well the first time.
You did it for Beartooth and Bermuda Horizon?
Yeah, twice for Bermuda Horizon, right? No. Once.
Okay.
Well, yeah, twice.
I feel like that might be it.
Possibly.
You didn't do it this year at Warped Tour.
Yeah, I did.
So,
For Bless the Paul.
oh, right. I feel like that's it.
A Day to Remember.
Day to Remember, yeah.
And Wage War.
Wage War.
Are you guys seeing them on their upcoming tour with the 15 year?
Yeah, we're just really bummed about Falling in Reverse.
Yeah, so am I,
for
trust
that
me.
part of it. But
Yeah.
but the rest of it sounds good.
Yeah, the rest of that lineup was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I was looking at it and I was like, I don't know. I don't really know. Because I like A Day to Remember. I think the only thing that I don't like by them that they've released so far is the last album they just put out.
What was that? You kind of broke up at the end.
Yeah, the last album that they put out wasn't really my favorite, but everything else by them I've actually enjoyed. I've actually adored a lot. So I mean, I don't even know if it's actually coming to New York, but if it is, I might look into it. So.
I like their new album. I mean, it's definitely different, but it's definitely also enjoyable.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is an acquired taste. And then, I think maybe just for me, I just haven't listened to it enough times. I definitely, there's definitely songs also I enjoy. It's just not, it's just not as many as I do on other records.
I feel you.
Yep. But anyway, I just want to go back and touch on, Mike's, crowd surfing career. And just, let you know.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, we did. I also got a little bit sidetracked as well. I don't even remember what I was going to say. But I think, the first time I saw that, and I know I told you guys this before about, I like to let other people know, because I think other people feel the same way as well, is that, being able to see him do that is definitely, really inspiring. It's definitely something it's definitely something that you don't see every day. It's definitely something, you see crowd surfers at every show, or at least the majority of every show that people probably go to. But it's just it's something in his case, it's not very, you don't see it every day. And I think that's very inspiring. To me, it is, and I'm pretty sure to others as well, So, I do thank you for, doing that. I'm pretty sure, it's just something that you enjoy, but I don't know if you know that the message that it carries as well.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's always really cool to go to a show and watch him do that, and then have a bunch of people come up to him after the fact, be like, "Dude, that's so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, that's my husband."
Yeah. Probably feel a lot of pride in that. It's just is that guy your husband? It's like, oh my god, yes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
I'm like, damn right it is.
That is awesome. That's awesome. All right, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know that this was a lot of. I know this was a lot of the same over again, but I just wanted to be able to get this last little part in there. I think I'm just gonna edit it to the point where it's just it cuts out and then put what we have new in there. But or not. Maybe I'll just merge the two together. Who knows?
Sounds good. Whatever.
I'll see what I can work out. But I do thank you guys again so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No problem.
All right, guys. It was nice talking to you again. And I'll definitely
All right.
talk to you soon.
You too.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Cool.
Bye.
All right. You too. Bye.
And that concludes our first episode of the Depthsposting podcast. I do truly thank Mike and Kyla for talking to me. I do definitely appreciate their time. I definitely do appreciate the conversation. They were definitely wonderful people to talk to. I definitely would like to do a part 3, because we did definitely do 2 parts of this. Anyway, we will be back next week with a whole new episode, and we will see you guys soon. Have a good day.